Okay, Tortured Toffee here with Newcastle fan Tommy Harwood. Tommy, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good. How are you, mate?
I'm good. Now, I first seen you because you actually mentioned me in a video. Can you remember that?
Yeah, I remembered because I think it was a video. Someone commented. It was actually an Irish Evertonian that said, "Oh, we're not rivals." And I was like, "Mate, I've never considered Everton a rival. Like, it's a social media thing. It's not.
Yeah,
Like on the comments. So like my mates do it as well. It's all the Scouse Mackhams, and I was like,
yeah.
oh, just because Jordan Pickford is a Sunderland fan, he plays for Everton, and Anthony Gordon jumped ship to us. I'm like, that's a rivalry, really? We've never been rivals, never have. Want to beat us, you want to beat us. That's the way it works. But we're not
Right.
rivals. Just for
This
your
might,
Everton fans, just to clear it up.
right,
Yeah,
okay. So this might come as a shock to you because you've seen me banter in Newcastle quite a lot, I presume.
yeah, yeah. I've seen the way you caught me. It was during Christmas last year, and you kindly had a blue Evertonian Santa hat.
Yeah,
Oddly enough, with red and white crackers, with messages coming from Kevin Phillips saying, "When was the last time you won a trophy?" And I was going to comment on it, and I was like, "Mate, enjoy your Christmas, man. Enjoy
yeah.
your Christmas. I wish everyone Merry Christmas." I thought, I look back at it, it was funny. It's funny, it's banterous, but it's like, some people take it the wrong way, but I just take it with a pink, like,
No,
with a bit
that's
of
what I
humour.
that's what I love about you, mate. Because you
Yeah,
take it how it should be taken as
yeah,
football. For me, it's great watching football, but a big part of it is banter as well.
yeah,
You've got to be able to have a laugh, and if you're going to give it, you've also got to be able to take it. And I
yeah.
think you're the perfect type of person for that. And that's why I do respect you so much because you can see the funny side of things.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason for it. I come from Chelsea Street, County Durham. So in Durham, you're either a Newcastle fan or a Sunderland fan.
Yeah.
My dad brought me up as a Newcastle fan. Used to take me to a place called Maiden Castle, watch the entertainers train. My mum's side of the family are Sunderland fans. So
Oh,
Christmas day
really?
after, yeah. So my granddad, who died this year, God rest his soul, was a massive Sunderland fan. Obviously, he got to see them win the 1973 FA Cup against Leeds. So Christmas Day after a few pints gets kind of interesting. I've known people who are like Scousers, like I've got like I know a few that have got like Evertonian toffee side, red side.
Yeah.
It gets kind of interesting. So
Yeah.
it's the banter thing, especially when you're in Durham where you're a mix of people. I work with work colleagues who are Sunderland fans and they always tease me after the match, but it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, my wife is actually a red, so yeah, I
Yeah.
can relate a bit.
Oh, well, that's going to be interesting on Christmases now, I'll tell you.
I know. Yeah, what I was going to say to you is this might shock you a bit, but I don't know if it was the same for you. You know, when you were a kid, like even though you support Newcastle, like I supported Everton, I'd have other teams' shirts as well. Like I remember having an Arsenal away shirt, and I'm talking about when I was about 12.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And I had a Tottenham shirt, I had a Blackburn shirt, I think, but
yeah,
I did have a Newcastle shirt,
yeah,
and the reason why was because even though I supported Everton, I'd
yeah.
idolised players at other teams as well. And the player that I really liked back then was Andy Cole. So
Call the goal, yeah,
when Andy Cole played for Newcastle, that's why I had a Newcastle shirt because
yeah,
my dad would just buy me all different kits. I had Inter Milan kits, Brazil kit, everything, as you
yeah.
probably did yourself. And yeah, but it's funny because I idolised Andy Cole, but nowadays I think he's a bit of a prick, so
He is a bit of a, yeah, he is a bit of a prick, yeah.
yeah,
God, he's a great player, but like, I think he's come out and he's just like whinging and all that, like
yeah.
whinging. And I'm just like,
I think he's got a
I don't
very
know.
high opinion of himself, and it's not that he wasn't a good player. He was a good player, but I think he
Yeah,
holds himself a little bit higher than he should. And yeah, I just don't like
yeah,
that about him. He's very cocky.
yeah. For a guy that I don't even think he got in England, he got few England caps. I don't think he has
He
the right to
never got
be.
many, did he?
No, even I think just because he won a Champions League and that, I think he may have just got a bit too big for his britches, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I watched the Newcastle game last week against Man City,
yeah,
and I honestly thought at the end of it that you should have won the game. Now, City did pass it round a lot in portions of the game and that, but I don't think they really troubled you a lot. And I was watching it thinking to myself, oh no, these are starting to find the rhythm now. That looked like that was the best that I'd seen you play this season. And
Yeah.
I was fearful that you're just going to click at the right time before you play us. And that was my fear watching that game last week. Did you feel the same or?
I was actually predicted that would get beat 2-1. I would have taken that. Because I think with City, even though they've got the 115 charges and obviously there's still that good winning mentality, but
Yeah.
I should have predicted it would have been a draw because if you looked at the previous games with City, I think they were against Brentford and Arsenal. They're pushing their luck a little bit.
It was, yeah.
And I think it's only going to be a matter of time before they get beat. Obviously, if we'd won, I think you would have been happy. You might have been bittersweet being an Evertonian because the other red side of Liverpool are currently on top. So I think if we'd won, we would have actually, I think we're City the other side of Liverpool. I don't know what I'm talking about here, to be honest with you. But I'm happy that we've clicked at this moment in time, even though I take a draw. But
yeah,
then obviously we had Wimbledon. That was a train session. But I looked at that match. We weren't converting opportunities. But obviously the next match, the blue side of Liverpool, I'll be honest with you. I look at that with trepidation. I am.
Really?
Oh yeah, you've had a poor start to the season. Did you win? Was it Fulham last week? Was it Fulham?
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace, sorry. Obviously they're not doing really well, but I'm glad it's at Goodison Park. It's the last one at Goodison Park. Obviously both fans might think there's a rivalry. If there isn't, let's just I've played that one up.
Yeah.
But Everton's going to be pumped up. If they get a win, it'll ease the pressure because it's been a miserable. I was talking to a friend of mine who is a Scouser. She's a lifelong Evertonian, married to a Newcastle fan.
All right, okay.
And obviously I was messaging her. I was at the women's match yesterday, oddly enough against Everton, and she was saying, it's just like, it's difficult being a toppie. I was like, try being a Newcastle fan since you're free. I've still got my hair. But this match, I'm actually looking at this match with trepidation because last season you weren't doing well. You turned us sour, 3-0.
Yeah.
So it's the one I look with like cautiously, especially a wounded animal. It's always dangerous, isn't it?
I feel like it is going to turn into a fiery game tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't think the kickoff time is going to help that. I mean, if it had stayed 3:00, I don't think it'd have been as feisty. But no, like with being 5:30 under the lights, it always just seems to turn into that type of game. And I think that's what you're going to get tomorrow, especially with Anthony Gordon playing. Obviously, Pickford for yous.
Yeah, well, Anthony Gordon's going to get a very warm toffee welcome. Let's put it that way. I think there's going to be a lot of shouting there. Jordan Pickford, obviously, little arms, all that stuff. But obviously, I think everyone's going to be pumped up for that match. It's at Goodison Park. It's a very tight knit place. It's going to be a shame to see it gone, but because it's one of the old fashioned grounds that any team, whether you're Newcastle, Manchester City, all the way to Leyton Orient, you go to Goodison Park, you're thinking we're gonna have to like sort of fight it the old fashioned way. Yeah. But
have you ever been to Goodison?
I've never been to Goodison, but I used to like watch like a lot of the Merseyside derbies, and if there was a match on a Sunday, I'd watch it with my dad. But like I used to love like how like very tight knit it was.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I was watching 98 Everton versus I think it was Coventry City where you drew against them and you survived last minute.
Oh yeah. Gareth Fadley scored for us and McAllister scored for them.
I think Hughes needed a point and Bolton needed a win because you got stuffed by Arsenal 3-0 and they won the league.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to be on Premier League years on Sky, and I was like, and all the fans are going mental, and Martin Tyler's going to how Everton survived by the skin of their teeth, and Like,
It's been
like,
far too many times that.
yeah,
Far
I
too
know
many.
that I've felt it recently in the past 10 or 20 years, but I remember watching that and I'm thinking, wow, that is like a very tight-knit stadium. And it's a
Yeah,
very underrated one, Goodison Park, in my opinion.
yeah, I think so. But it is. It's been there 134 years now. We do need to move. As sad as it is, we do need to leave. But yeah, it will be really sad, as I said, to leave that stadium because it's got so many good memories for us.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's like sort of, moving from your childhood home and then moving to, another
yeah,
place in somewhere else. But I was actually thinking about this recently with Everton moving, and I was listening to Talk Sport, and it was a West Ham fan going on, and he's saying, "Oh, it's not the London Stadium's not the same as the Bowling Ground." I think a lot of Evertonians might have think we're moving the stadium. Is it going to be the same? Is it going to be different?
well, I don't
Yeah,
think it will be the same for a long time.
yeah,
I just don't because all it as you'll probably know, inside football grounds, there's a certain area where it's always louder than the rest of the ground.
yeah,
Now it's going to be hard to get all them people to sit in the same place, isn't it? Again, in a new
yeah,
ground. So I think it just takes time over the years and years for the people to I don't know, get used to each other and where the main part's going to be.
yeah. You can look at clubs like Brentford or the Emirates Stadium or even Stadium of Light. It's something they've sort of solved it out. But I
Yeah,
think for Evertonians, like for them, like the more like modern ones like yourself, I think the heart and the soul will always be Goodison Park. That's
oh, of course, yeah,
and that and obviously for generation, obviously after we're dead, that's obviously gonna change.
yeah.
Because we're having that sort of problem at the moment at St
So
James's because we might
speaking of Goodison, I know you've never actually been. Would you be able to give me a favourite memory of Goodison Park? Maybe I think you beat us 4-1 like 2 seasons ago. I don't know if
five
that would be
one
your favourite memory.
5-1. Yeah, I remember the Isaac goal for that. But the
Was it
one that really,
five? I thought it was four.
I'm
You
sure it
know.
was. I might be five. It's 2 years is a long time, man, dude. One I remember was when I think we came up and we were playing at Goodison Park. If you remember a player called Hatem Ben Arthur,
Oh yeah, and he scored a worldie.
he scored a worldie.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I think it must have been from like about 35 yards.
yeah, yeah. I
First half,
remember it.
he was on loan at Marseille. And then that match, we were just ultra defensive and Everton could have easily have scored on that. And I'm like, I think we ended up winning 1-0. I was like, oh
Yeah, I think it
God.
was. It was 1-0.
Yeah,
And
1
I
nil.
remember not too long ago Everton being 2-0 up as they do, and throwing it away in the last minute. We were 2-0 up to Newcastle, and I think they added 5 minutes on, and we ended up drawing 2-2.
Yeah. Oh,
That
was that the
seems
one
to be
that
what we
Pickford was
do.
behind the goal? When he was behind the goal, saving it, Lejeune, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it might have been. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he got tortured on social media for that. But to be fair, and the one that was the worst when we got taken over and that person invaded the pitch at Goodison Park.
Oh yeah, and when a
Yeah,
Wobie scored.
when Iwobi scored, I was like, it was like 25 minutes of that at time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that was like, I was like at home and I'm like, oh my God, it had to be Iwobi because he was like, the people said he peaked at Arsenal. That wasn't even the worst part. I was having messages off me mates. The guy had long hair and glasses. They'll message. I used to have long hair,
Oh yeah, I remember you
and
having long hair.
yeah, and people messaged me saying, "Tommy, why have you invaded the pitch at Goodison Park?" I was like, "No, that wasn't me. I'm not into that stuff." I was like, I'm here in Durham." I was like, "I don't have time for that." I was like, that was the worst one. And obviously, last year 3-0.
Yeah.
My friend of
That
mine,
was kind of Trippier's fault last year. I think he made two big mistakes, and they both led to goals, didn't he?
was that the 3-0? Was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the 3-0. I think.
Yeah,
But if you looked at that match, I said this in my review of the match. Everton wanted that more. Everton, they wanted it more.
yeah,
Like you knew from the first second to the 90th minute, Everton wanted it more. And there was knee complaints from me. We were just shit. We have a lot of injuries, and that's not an excuse. We were just piss poor. I think
yeah,
that's the one thing that Sean Dyche does. In difficult situations,
yeah,
because that's the one thing that he's good at. getting the best out of the players that he already has. May not have a big budget. I'd like to see him like. I think he's at the right club, but if he was at a club with a big budget, you could probably see him going far.
Maybe we'll see soon when we get to over. Eh?
Yeah. I mean,
So, have you got any score predictions for tomorrow? You're not going to say Anthony Gordon's going to score, are you?
I was going to, but
tomorrow. I mean Saturday. Tomorrow.
I was going to say. I was just about to say that. I've said 3-1. I'm saying he'll score a goal against us because our defence has been really shocking this season. It's been shocking probably for about 2 seasons, but I can probably see us getting a goal. It wouldn't be surprising if it was Calvert-Lewin, and that guy like couldn't score on a night out in town. And we were linked with this guy.
I still think he's going to end up at Newcastle, mate.
I don't think he is. I don't think he's good enough. He can't.
I just think I think Eddie Howe's a big fan of him.
Well, Eddie Howe's an Everton fan anyway, so.
I know.
Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise. That's why do you think he signed Anthony Gordon? But there's like for me with Calvert-Lewin, there's no end product. I watched when you played us at St James's. It was 1-1. If he could have scored at least 3 or 4 goals, the only reason he scored was a penalty. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't think he's good enough. If you put him somewhere like he'd probably suit the Championship.
Yeah.
I think most Blues would agree. Most Toffees would agree with me.
Well, I don't think we can argue with it over the last few years. I mean, he had one really good season, and that was under Ancelotti.
Yeah.
And that was probably why he had a good season, because he had Ancelotti mentoring him. And, he hasn't really been great since, and he's had a lot of injuries. But the fact that you can get him on a free is why I think he will end up at Newcastle, because he's not signing a new contract yet.
FFP,
and in January he can just go and sign a pre-contract wherever he wants, and I think that will be Newcastle.
Obviously with FFP we have to do things on the budget. That's a problem.
Yeah.
I think that's been the big killer for us. We've had to sort of, the same as when we were in the relegation battles under Rafa Benitez. We had to go to the bargain buckets. We had to go to the charity shops. It sucks. It's quite hypocritical. Obviously, for you've had to sell some of your best players as well. There's a lot of.
It's FFP. It's no good, is it? It's no good for anyone. Well, apart from the teams at the top, it's no good, because Newcastle, I think, are the richest club in the world, really, aren't they? And you're not allowed to sign anyone. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's like, I think we've got the money. Like, let's do what we want. So we've had to sell Elliot Anderson, who was a youth player at Newcastle. We had to sell Forest. And obviously, for you lot, you've had to sell some of your best players. You had a points deduction, and obviously you said the absolute hypocrisy of it is unbelievable. I actually felt sorry for you, and obviously thank God you survived. Forest have been done for it. It's just it's
a joke.
Because
for you to sign anyone, say you'd have to sell for you to sign real quality players, you probably have to sell your best player, which should we just say is Isaac, right? He's your superstar.
Yeah.
So if you have to sell him, who do you think he's going to go to? He's going to go to one of them clubs you're trying to compete with. So therefore, you're strengthening them to try and strengthen yourself. That's where it just doesn't work, because you have to sell your best player, and he's going to have to go to one of them clubs you're chasing. You're making them stronger by trying to catch them. It's never going to work.
Yeah, and especially with our academies and stuff like that, we're trying to bring up new players, and the only way we're going to do that, and if they're playing good, the only way we're going to do it is by selling them. And football's about getting better. We want we've been in the Champions League. Yous have been in obviously Europa. We both want to be in that situation again. We want to be playing the best teams in the world.
Of course.
We want to be winning trophies. Obviously, that becomes a regular meme on with a lot of people in the comments on my TikTok channel. Obviously, but we want to compete. That's a part of it. But they're just letting Man U, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham.
Exactly.
Tottenham. Well, first of all, Tottenham, they can fuck off because they haven't won a trophy in a long time. So I'm sorry that any Tottenham fans, but
I'm clipping that up.
I'm going to get abuse on TikTok, man, for that. So I'm going to get memes for that. Because like they've never won a trophy. I was like, they're not in the top six. And
Yeah,
I was asking this question, like, there's always the big club, thing that you see on TikTok. Like, I've never bought into it. Never
yeah.
have. Like, what's a big club? What is a big club? You
Well,
know,
I
like,
think this is the problem because Man City is now thought of as a big club, and they are a big club.
yeah,
They proved that over the years, but a lot of this FFP is because of Man City, because the other teams who were always there are not happy that another team has broke right
yeah,
through it and is now the best team, possibly in the world. And I think that's irritated a lot of them teams at the top. And it's
right, yeah,
them who want to keep the FFP there because they don't want another Man City coming through and
yeah,
upsetting the apple cart. And they don't. That's what's Newcastle's main rival right now. I think you can't spend money because of what Man City have done, and it's scared the other
yeah,
teams at the top because they're just gonna think we're gonna lose all this money if this keeps being allowed. Other teams to just come up and break through, spending what they want.
yeah,
And I think that's where, I mean, you might not agree with this. I hope Man City get away with every single charge just to piss the rest of them teams off and just to make the Premier League look like the joke that it is at the moment.
yeah, yeah. I think with what you've said about Man City doing it, you've got to keep it like the one I think of is Chelsea started it.
Yeah,
Chelsea started because keep in mind when Roman Abramovich took over, there was no FFP. They could spend whatever they want.
yeah.
Basically,
And
they
they
spent
did.
the whole team, and they did. They won the big one. But with Man City, I saw your video where you were saying, "Oh, I hope they get away with it." I've not really mentioned it because I'm not really bothered about it because everyone on social media have just jumped, 115 charges. You're going to get relegated to League Two. Like most Man City fans, they wouldn't care about getting relegated to League Two because they've been in that situation before and
Yeah.
they'll more likely come back up because people say
That's
Man
the
City,
reason that, like, I don't think you can begrudge Man City because they've had hard times. They really have had hard times, their fans.
yeah,
They've
yeah,
been had multiple relegations. They weren't just relegated from the Premier League. They went
yeah,
down again, and they've had to
because
fight all that way back. And as much as people might not like Man City, their fans deserve what they've seen lately, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah, I've always said, and I've always debunked the theory that Man City have many fans. It's not true. They've
No,
got
it's
one of
not
the most,
true. It's not
it's
true.
like, it's not true. It's like, they've got the most local fans. That's the real man team. Like Everton's the real Scouse team. And I've said this to you before, they're the
Thank
real
you.
Scouse team. But in regards to, because, like Liverpool, like a lot of people, even Liverpool fans complain it's a touristy club, Liverpool. But with Man City, what they've got, 115 charges, what's what's gonna happen? They'll get a transfer embargo, they'll get a fine, they'll get a points deduction. That's it. They're not going to get
Yeah.
taken to League Two. That's not going to happen. You know, I just don't see that happening, and I'm not one of them to
I
jump
think
on
they
the
will get
bandwagon.
some sort of punishment. How severe it is, I don't know, but
Yeah,
I think the Premier League are almost going to be pressured by the other teams, and they're going to do something. But it's what they can do because Man City have got all the money in the world to fight it, and
yeah,
they'll have the best people in the world fighting it, and I do think that'll work out for them.
yeah. Because let's be honest, if you give them a fine, they're going to be like, we got away with that.
Yeah,
They could just like, yep, there you go. If you give them a transfer embargo, they'll probably bring out some young. They've got a good academy. They'll bring out some youth talent. Chelsea had that a couple of years ago.
yeah.
You give them a points deduction, they'll probably end up in Europa League, and then Arsenal, Liverpool, that other side, and Merseyside probably win the league.
Don't say
It's no, I know. Well, I actually, when they first won the league, I actually wanted them to win the league during lockdown.
oh, because it had been so long since they won it, you just kind of wanted to see it.
No, because here's the thing: I've got a cousin from London who is a Liverpool fan,
All
and
right,
I used to work in an Irish pub in Cambridge, and I used to know a lot of Irish fans that follow Liverpool because of the connection. And all I'd say is, it's our year. It's our year. It's our year. It's Raquel with me. I'm like, please, just win the fucking thing. And stop saying that stupid shit again.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it for another 20
I'm glad
years.
you mentioned that because I thought it was only Evertonians who ever heard that because that's all we've heard for years from them. It's our year, it's our year, it's our year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, please just win it. Please. Just, I don't want to hear it again for another 20, 30 years.
So anyway, you said 3-1, didn't you? 3-1.
I said 3-1, yeah. I think it's not a match for the faint heart, especially under the spotlights of Goodison Park. And I think Everton in this match, I think there's going to be a few bits of dark arts. I think there's going to be I think it's Brexit football, I think is what they're probably saying.
For me to be 100% honest, for us to win the game, I think we will have to use the dark arts, as you said. And I'm not confident at all about this game. I was speaking in work last night to one of my friends in work, an Evertonian, and I said to him, I've just got a bad feeling about this game. I'm not confident at all. And he said the same. But because I'm on here, I'm always going to stay positive, and I'm going to say 2-1 Everton.
2-1 Everton. Yeah. Who's going to score?
Well, because you've slated him so much, Calvin Lewin, of course.
I thought you were going to say Pickford's going to score.
Well, I'd love that, but I can't see that happening. And also leads me to the next question, and I know it's not going to be this guy behind me, Jordan Pickford, but if you had to take one player from our team and you have to start in your team, who would it be and why?
Oh, what's a toughie. Well, Pickford, because he said he would never ever play for Newcastle, and he actually is from Washington, which is not far from me. Oh, that's a toughie.
I actually seen Pickford praise Newcastle a few months ago, to be honest with you. They were asking him about the best atmospheres, and he mentioned Newcastle.
Yeah, because obviously that's more of a rivalry thing, though, because I think we're here, like in the North East, we agree we've got some of the best fans in the world. We may not have won a lot of trophies, but we enjoy ripping the shit out of each other, the same as like any other part of the world.
Of course, yeah, of course.
I'm trying to think who would I have.
Branthwaite.
Actually, Branthwaite's not a good shout. Up and coming. You know, I was going to say Onana, but I'm not sure if he's still there anymore.
Onana plays for Villa now. He's gone to
Aston Villa.
Yeah.
And I was thinking I was either that. I was going to say Keane, just for the experience.
Really? I'll send Michael Keane in a taxi right now.
I would say it's because he's got some experience and he's. No, not Keane. Coleman. I'd have Coleman.
Coleman. Okay.
Coleman. I've not the Coleman. I got mixed up. Just good. He's been there for like what, 10, 12 years.
Yeah, we can't have Seamus. We love Seamus.
Yeah, I think just for experience, because we've got a young side, and I just think we need that kind of experience, in our squad. Because I think Isak's about 24. Guimaraes is still young. I think our oldest player is John Ruddy, and he doesn't even get a start.
He's been at Everton in the past.
Oh yeah, he has, hasn't he? It was about 2011, wasn't it?
Oh, no, it was even earlier than that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was when he was really young, like. What was it? Hang on a sec.
You're just searching on Google, aren't you?
No, that went off behind me. Look, Mickey Mouse has just come on behind me. I don't know if that's a sign for tomorrow, like.
It's playing mind games, dark arts at the moment, aren't you? You're trying to get me unrattled.
What was I saying then? Oh yeah, I was going to mention Anthony Gordon again. What do you think of Anthony Gordon then?
At the start, when he signed for us, I'm like, why did we sign this guy? Because if you remember the match with at St James's Park, Cher was like, oh, I haven't given him a bit of that.
Yeah, I remember them having a little bit,
And obviously the way he was dressing at the time, I was like, why are we paying this amount of money for a prima donna? But he's proved us wrong, because he was getting on the bench, and he wasn't happy about it. And he started to just develop as this player, that like was really good especially on the wing now. And it's obviously, I'm glad he's got an England call up. It's a shame that Southgate didn't see the potential in him. And I think start of this season, hasn't had hasn't really been playing to what I'd say would be his potential.
Yeah.
Obviously the City game probably proves that, but I think maybe it's more because I know he's a boyhood Liverpool fan. I think he is.
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah.
He's a boyhood. I don't think he's going to be getting any free pints at Everton anytime soon.
I can tell you a little story about Anthony Gordon that not many people know. And I can't prove this is 100% fact, but this was a strong rumour. And I can't tell you, obviously I can't name any names, but it's from someone inside the club. Do you know, just before he left to go to Newcastle, there was a game he played for Everton, and I can't remember who we were playing now. He gave a free kick away, and the team scored from it. And apparently this caused a bit of an argument in the dressing room that he gave this free kick away to the team and scored. Yeah. And Decore and Anthony Gordon apparently had a little bit, and Decore got the better of him, but then got pulled off. Frank Lampard was in charge at the time, and after that, Decore never really played. I think he kind of got the blame for it.
Yeah.
Then Sean Dyche came in. Gordon left at basically the same time he came in, and then Decore got put back in the team then. And I can't prove that's a 100% fact, but it was a really strong rumour it was a reliable source too, but I can't prove they're telling me the truth either. So
yeah,
a lot of people think that Anthony Gordon left because the fans gave him abuse outside the ground, which was like youngsters too, by the way.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it was. I believe that situation was the nail in the coffin for Anthony Gordon at Everton.
I think he
wanted out after that.
I think he like from the way Everton have been going, like relegation battles. Obviously, they brought him through the ranks, and he obviously wanted to jump ship. I think it was just for him for his future, really. But you see that, we've seen that with like Wayne Rooney jumping to Man United.
Yeah.
But I think maybe for Gordon, I don't think he wanted to see himself in a relegation battle, and I don't mean that to be like horrible or disrespectful.
No, I don't take it like that, honestly.
Yeah, but you get players that go through obviously you brought them up through the academy, gave them a chance, and the next thing you know, just jumping ship and wanting to go somewhere else. We see that all the time.
I hope you don't take this the wrong way. I think part of the frustration with Anthony Gordon leaving at the time, like, this is before I knew that story, by the way, was, and this is no disrespect to Newcastle, we were thinking, well, if you're forcing a move, why are you forcing it to Newcastle? Like, because at the time, it's not like you were like massive. Do you know what I mean? Like, you were still just trying to get that Champions League spot. What you did end up getting, but yeah, we went to with that one a bit.
So if he went to like an Aston Villa, or you probably think, oh yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But like, obviously we were near the Champions League at the time. But
yeah,
if he went somewhere like Aston Villa or maybe Brighton, maybe Brighton to some extent.
No, because I still wouldn't have understood it. I still wouldn't have understood it. It's just, and maybe that's a bit of arrogance on my part, thinking Everton are bigger than they are, but it just...
Everton's a massive club.
I think that's more of the reason there's a little bit of needle too, because obviously we mentioned Pickford, Gordon, that's a bit of the needle, but I don't think Everton fans really understood at the time why he went to Newcastle, and that caused more of a bad blood between Everton and Newcastle, even more so.
It's like fuel to the fire, really, but it's, as I say, that's more of a social media sort of thing. You know, it's never been like historic or anything like that. We've never
no.
We're both clubs that, I've always said Everton's a historic club, but we're both clubs that just want to just see our team win. Like, there have been times where I've gone to matches, where I've just thought, probably you felt the same, thinking, why am I paying to watch this shit?
Yeah.
I remember,
sometimes after 5 minutes of being in there, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's like when we got relegated I was living in Cambridge and I was watching the match. We got beat by Fulham in the Championship, and my manager Paddy from Ireland's a Man U fan. He said, like, Tommy, like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you wasting your Wednesday watching this shit? Get yourself laid, mate. I was like, cheers, mate. I was like, and, but we're both clubs that obviously you've lived the dream. You got to see Everton win the FA Cup.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
did.
like in my lifetime, I've never seen us win a trophy. You know, that's not why I signed up to be a Newcastle fan. I do it
No,
because I
but
love the club.
see,
You
that's
know,
another reason I was saying to you I respect you so much because you come across to me as a proper fan, and I like to think I'm a proper fan because although you would love to see your club win a trophy or compete at the top, that's not being a supporter just for the
yeah,
glory.
yeah,
You support a supporter is self-explanatory. It's to support. You support them when they're down. You've got to support them because they'll never come back up without support. And the fans are one of the biggest reasons that a club can get over the hurdle. I feel
yeah.
like Everton
I
fans have saved Everton from getting relegated
totally
over the
agree. Yeah,
last few
yeah,
years, just because we've stayed with them and been loud for them. We've tried to intimidate the other team for them. We've set
yeah.
fireworks off at hotels ready the team
Yeah,
to play the night
that's
before.
worked against us. That like,
We've tried everything we can.
yeah,
And then, so when you try like that and then they don't perform, it's just even more frustrating. But and people think like, oh, you're getting on the back too much. But we're giving you everything, and all we want is everything back. Let's see you give
aye,
everything. And if you lose giving everything, that's fine. But just let us see that you gave everything, and then everything's
yeah.
fine. And I think,
Totally agree. Because I like on my TikTok, I get a lot of comments from usually from Man U fans, Chelsea fans, like saying, "Oh, when was the last time you won a trophy and stuff like that?" And I'm like, that's not why I signed up for it because I've
no,
been a supporter since I was 3. I've seen us come up short in the FA Cup, in the League Cup, but so far away. You know, there've been times where I remember getting promoted, getting beat by Blackpool 2-0. I'm thinking, well, it's not the only one that feels like shit. You know, I mean, like for me, I try to get to matches whenever I can, get to women's matches, get to a few
yeah,
in the top ones. You know, seen him train when I was free with my dad when Kevin Keegan was there.
yeah,
But, you know, a lot of people, like modern football fans, they look at it like, oh, you have to win a trophy. Sometimes you just didn't. You didn't
yeah.
have to win a trophy. You know, you look at clubs like, historic clubs like Burnley and Fulham and, you know, Palace, Crystal Palace, like, they don't have to win a trophy. They're just great clubs to be part of.
Yeah.
I just think one like football fans, especially on social media, they just don't know what football's really about.
No.
I'll even respect the Sunderland fan. It might like pain me to say it, but I respect them if they're watching, you know, that crap. You know what I mean? I still give them a ton of
And,
respect.
and I know it's not going to come as a shock to you, but I get on really well with Sunderland fans, and
I
I
wonder why.
really, no, I really like Sunderland fans. They are really passionate about the team, as Newcastle fans are too. But
Yeah,
yeah, I feel like Sunderland fans like stick with the team and get the team through hard times too, and I can relate to them a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they're great fans. I know you don't want to hear that, but I do
Well,
think that.
I'll give the devil its due. Obviously the biggest derby in the North East is Newcastle Sunderland. Middlesbrough is not a derby for anyone who's watching this. They're Yorkshire. They're Yorkshire. To anyone who's watching that. But
Okay,
it's one
well, I'm
it's
go-
one
I'm
of
gonna have to go in a minute because I've got to get the kids in bed. But thank you
the
so much, Tommy, for coming. And I do really appreciate your time,
to me, Bob. I'm hoping to get back. I'm hoping I either banter you or get bantered off you. All your Toffee fans, how are the lads?
mate.
How are
I
the?
will, I will, I will not rub it in your face. I promise you that.
Oh, you totally will, dude. You totally
No,
will.
no, I might rub it into some Newcastle fans' faces, but I will not direct it at you. I promise you that.
I'll take it with a pinch of salt. I've got an Everton fan living in Durham here that is going to give me banter anyway. So it is what it is, my friend. It is what it is, mate.
Okay, well, Tommy, I'll leave it by saying you are, honest to God, 100% mean this, one of my favourite TikTokers and one of the best people I've met on there. So thank you
Cheers.
very much. I do appreciate it,
Che-
mate. Thank you.
Cheers, man. Thanks for clearing a lot of things about things. Take care of yourself, mate.
And you, mate. Bye. Thank
Take
you.
care. Ta-da.
Right.